60% στη Λάρισα. Αυτό έχει θορυβήσει. Αυτή την ώρα τώρα που συζητάμε βλέπετε ότι γίνεται πάλι σεισμός. Νομίζω ότι είναι αρκετά ισχυρός. Έχουμε μεγάλο πρόβλημα. Προσπαθούμε να κρατηθούμε σε κάποια ηρεμία. Πιστεύω να το καταλάβατε. Είναι οι μετασεισμοί οι οποίοι συμβαίνουν αυτή την ώρα σε όλη την περιοχή της Θεσσαλίας.
Wow, earthquakes everywhere, Bill. Welcome to the Bill Mason Show.
Exactly. I mean, the Pacific Rim is highly active, but the Europe thing at the same time, and I think one of the tip-offs, we may have touched on it towards the end of one of our shows, was that the most active volcano in Europe went off, and that was Mount Etna. And maybe it was like this trigger event because now, you know, they're popping up all over the world, and they're not really that small. They're 7s and 8s. These are pretty decent sized earthquakes.
Right. Yeah, we're going to go over the big earthquakes happened in New Zealand today. That earthquake you just saw, that was from Greece. That was yesterday, 6.0.
Yeah, and the guy, he wouldn't stop his newscast. He just kept going.
Right. So we're going to talk about the earthquakes that started this show. We're going to show you some videos of what's going on around the world. We're going to go into Israel, Hezbollah. There's a lot going on there. It's a major speech done by the Defense Secretary of Israel. We're going to talk about Venezuela a little bit. And then we're going to go into H.R. 1 that was passed today. We're going to talk about the new credit score that might happen in the United States. You're not going to believe this. And people were suspended today, so we're going to talk about it on YouTube. And of course, the SpaceX launch. We're going to talk about that too. So a lot to talk about today, Bill.
Yes. So what else we got on the earthquake front? I know we got some other footage too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, before we go to the New Zealand earthquake, we're going to talk about the Croatia sinkholes. There's over hundreds that has materialized in the last week. So take a look at this.
Okay.
There you go. So all those sinkholes, there's hundreds of them, by the way, in Croatia, which is right next to Greece, which had an earthquake yesterday. So tell me, Bill, I mean, is this the end? And is this the end of time, or is this more the same? What's going on?
Honestly, it seems like with the Pacific Rim, from what I looked into, everybody's like, oh, this is like no big thing. But I think for Europe, this is new because, you know, I remember it was, I want to say a month and a half ago, 2 months, they had some devastating earthquakes in Europe, in like Serbia or somewhere like that. So, I mean, now places that haven't had, you know, a historic level of earthquakes are getting rocked pretty hard. And I guess if your infrastructure like Croatia, obviously you can see, it's just, it doesn't matter where it is, farmland, houses, roads, whatever, it's just given out underneath. So there's big things are coming, I guess. I mean, as far as I know, the Earth has always been pretty active. But the last time we had this much activity, it was when they realized the polar magnetic north moved. And then they were like, wow, that must have happened during all those quakes. So I guess we'll see.
Right. Well, I mean, back in, what was it, 2001, was it? Or was it 250,000 people died of tsunamis?
Yeah.
So that was devastating.
I remember that. Yeah.
So, I mean, people don't talk about that. It's like, you know, 250,000 people died just like that.
Yeah, in an instant, like in a flash.
Exactly. You know? So anyway, so this could be more of the same, you know, same old, but that's strange you have all those sinkholes in Croatia. But let's take a look and see what happened today. We had several earthquakes, 7.3, 7.4, and 8.1 near New Zealand. Take a look at this.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever seen all ferries, all boats leave the inner Bay of Islands They're all just there seeking shelter in the open sea, no less. And the siren is going off for a third time now. So something's coming. We just don't know what. And yeah. So
There we go. So it doesn't look like a tsunami, really happened. Of course, I saw a tsunami, a video of it, but it wasn't very big. So it was like a small wave. So looks like everything's fine in New Zealand, as far as I know. But the wave could have went the other way too as well. So and it takes a while to get there.
Well, the other thing that people don't really consider is that when stuff like this happens, it disrupts the shipping lanes.
Yes.
They move all the big boats, pretty far out. Places like Australia that are probably expecting ships to come in will be delayed. And, because of COVID and all the other things that go on, this could have like a ripple effect. And even in Europe with these earthquakes, there's rail lines that are torn to shreds and the supply chain gets affected. I mean, we think that these are just like, passing storms or whatever with these earthquakes. Even if the tsunami doesn't destroy land, it still has that effect on shipping. I know that.
Yeah, I agree. So we have a list of earthquakes that happened today in and around New Zealand. Take a look at this.
All right.
It just goes on and on.
All day. Wow, all day.
Yeah. There you go. Finally stopped. Well, there it goes. So it finally stopped. So yeah, so a lot of earthquakes happened today in and around New Zealand. We have an emanation type thing. Take a look at this.
Okay.
There we go. So,
like I said, the shipping is important to a place like Hawaii, the Samoan Islands. If boats don't come in and planes don't come in, they don't get their stuff. They don't have anything. So, I mean, Hawaii, they don't have, I mean, the price of gas in Hawaii is ridiculous. I can't imagine if they didn't get a tanker in for 3 days, what would happen to that island,
That's true. I mean, the earthquake that happened for Fukushima, the nuclear facility that destroyed that was 9.0.
Right. And these are 8, right? So
this is 8. I mean, so, it goes, was 100-fold if it goes to another point.
Yeah.
So, anyway. That's going on earthquakes. So the plates are active, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it won't be more active. We don't need any more 8-point earthquakes, but I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the states are, the Pacific Northwest is having some, I just checked into that. They're low level. Like they say, oh, you can't even feel a 2. You can't feel a 2.8, whatever. But, the West Coast is having active, seismic right now. So we'll see. Fingers crossed that they don't get devastated by an 8 because we saw what 8s do to California. So
right, yeah, we don't want to like those sci-fi movies at 10.0.
Yeah, man. But it's something. Yeah, we can't control it. So now we're just realizing that we're just being shaken around like ants on a tray. So
right, exactly. All right. So and Peru had a warning too because they're on the other side of the sea, but the tsunami can come their way as well. Take a look.
All right.
Atención a la población, se comunica que tenemos alerta de tsunami. Evacuar a zona segura.
All right, so Peru's warning everybody it could be a tsunami. So, so anyway, they're prepared. So that's good to have the early warnings and stuff like that since the devastating one we had several years ago. That killed.
I think everybody learned a lesson after that one.
Yeah, killing 250,000 people. I'm sure that learned some kind of lesson. So anyway, so on to something else. So we have the Israeli defense minister talking about Hezbollah, and looks like they might be touch up for war pretty soon. What do you think?
They're not going to take it anymore. He basically, he lays it out. He says, the guy goes, what's this? Oh, they're targets.
All right, let's take a look and see what he said.
How many missiles right now do you believe Hezbollah has?
Hundreds of thousands, but let me show you something which I think is very important. This is a map of Lebanon. What you see there is ground forces, missiles, headquarters, launching sites, etc. Everything is aimed to civilian targets, and it is being conducted from civilian infrastructure. That's the case in Lebanon. Now you tell me what's going to happen to Lebanon.
This is a target list for you.
This is a target map. Each one of them have been checked legally, operationally, intelligence-wise, and we are ready to fight.
There you go. So he's ready to fight. I'm telling you, Biden's going to get us into a war with Russia, and Israel is going to be part of it.
So much for Middle East peace. What a different world it is under Biden. Also too, they were talking about how the getting that rush to get in the Paris Accord didn't really make much sense since some of the deadlines were already passed and all this other crap. But then Glenn Beck actually read through some of the fine print. It has to do with global banking and the initiative to put pressure on companies to become green or not be able to finance, themselves. So it's like not only are our credit scores going to change in the business world, how green you are is going to affect whether you can get that, loan for the new addition to your business or to buy a new fleet of trucks or whatever it is. And the funny thing that I stumbled upon is that Nancy Pelosi managed to buy $1 million in Tesla stock, which Tesla's a great company. But then Joe Biden announces that the entire federal fleet of 600,000 vehicles is going to become electric.
Oh, yeah.
What a coincidence.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Big time coincidence. So, speaking of credit score, looks like we might have a new credit score for everybody.
Yeah, just when we all busted our humps to try to get that 800, they're going to throw it out the window and combine it based on means and based on how you behave socially. Are you a good boy, a bad girl? Do you have risky behavior? Do you jump out of airplanes on the weekend? All of these things are going to affect your credit score instead of, whether you pay your bills on time.
Yeah, since we're Trump supporters, we're domestic terrorists, so
we're
our
doomed.
score is going to be plummeted, right?
Yeah, my next vehicle that I buy will probably be like, I don't know. I can't even imagine.
Oh, they don't make them anymore. Remember Yugos?
Yeah, they were like $3,000. Yeah, seriously. If that's the objective, if they can't get us to behave in this political sphere or shut us down through, the places where we can voice our opinions or, how we feel about things, then they're going to shut us down through not letting us, engage in credit, like the whole point of getting credit for your business or, credit for your personal, like you want to buy a new home, you want to move, this is a way that they control who can move. How many people want to move to Texas right now? Well, they could basically in the future, if this is implemented, be able to say, well, sir, I'm sorry. No, you're not approved for that loan.
Right.
Regardless of your credit score, it's a new credit monitoring system. So.
It looks like other races would get a little bump too in his plan.
Oh yes, heavy impact on like we talked about before, being white because that carries a lot of privilege. But Latino, African Americans get a bump almost instantly, and the future is up to them because this is one of the other things that they do is they create an entity that came out of nowhere and it's not like private, run companies. It'll be some form of governmental, oversaw private entity. And then here we are. We're in the midst of this progressive fascistic regime that Antifa fought against us to get Trump out. But I mean, Biden and these people are turning into everything a fascist would want. I mean, this is it. I mean, this could turn into something like what China has, like their credit scoring or whatever you want to call it, behavioral scoring.
Right. It'd be like, I saw a movie the other day. If you take a picture of a nice salad, you put it on Facebook, your credit score goes up. So that's going to be part of your credit score. You're going to be like the financial, emotionally, and social.
That's it.
And health. Don't forget health. There's going to be a health too as well.
It'll be health orientated. It'll also be how green you are. How supportive, whether you recycle or not, and all of those things are going to come into play. It's just a matter of time. So I guess we're all in for it in one way or another.
Yes, I agree. So, just words can't comprehend how disastrous that's going to be.
Absolutely. And whenever you give them power, like, people don't realize we voted these clowns in or out, like, whatever side you're on. I'm sure there's a lot of Democrats out there that are really excited to have Joe Biden destroying this country. But the problem is that the power that they get, they never give it back. Right. And if you give them like unlimited power, where now they're taking private companies and getting rid of them. And honestly, if Facebook and Twitter and all these other companies don't toe the line, they're going to watch themselves get either broken up or, antitrust, some kind of new monopoly law, take away Section 230 or whatever. And I'm starting to see that's why they're becoming the little attack dogs for the left, because they realize that the left's in power and they better do the right thing or they're going to go from billionaires to nothing. Right. And they can do it. I mean, this is how they'll do it.
Right, exactly. And they will do it if they don't behave.
That's right. It's about obedience. And I mean, honestly, like, not to go off tangent real quick, but the whole mask thing, how the left is freaking out that places like Texas and Florida are saying, look, masks aren't mandatory. You wear one if you want. And the left is losing their mind because the mask has become, at least up here in the Northeast, a sign of obedience. Mm-hmm. Because I'm watching it, even though when I interact with people, I'm wearing a mask. Now I'm getting why don't you have two masks on? Because one mask wasn't enough of a sign of obedience. Now it's, oh, you're not a two-masker? I mean, it's getting ridiculous. So now that, states are starting to say, and I think Mississippi also maybe took away their mask mandate, opened up fully, but the left is losing their mind saying, oh, you're risking everybody's life and so on, because to them, it's not about life or death, obviously, because if you look at the blue states, they were atrocious in how they handled this virus. It's about obedience and doing what you're told. And that's what this mask crap is really about. And they're super upset that Texas is doing this. I mean, Biden called them Neanderthals for this thinking. And then when Biden was supposed to take questions, the White House thing went boop and went right off. So they won't even let this guy answer a question. And they sure as hell, he's not giving a State of the Union address either. No. There is no way he could talk his way through an hour.
No way.
Like Trump. I mean, we will see a reason why there's no State of the Union. I'm sure it'll be some kind of, crazy false flag event, or, oh my God, I'm already hearing about the Russian strain of COVID and all these other things that they're making up. So like now we're watching, they're making reasons for Biden not being able to speak. Because when he does speak, he's still flubbing and misquoting and all the stuff that we've been showing all along. It's not like he's doing anything different. But now we're in a world where we're going to have a president who doesn't even deliver a State of the Union because he can't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's, speaking of masks, now, I'm in Florida,
right.
But there's really no mask mandate. But when you go in stores, you have to wear a mask because they require it.
It's up to the store. So, like, you know, there are, for example, I saw on TV today, there's a barber shop in South Florida, and I forget probably Miami-Dade, where not only does he say, if you're uncomfortable not wearing a mask, don't come in here. He's got a sign on the outside saying nobody's wearing a mask in here. It's a barber shop. I'm doing facial hair. I'm trimming beards. I'm shaving. This is not a place where you wear masks. So then it becomes up to you whether you want to use that barber shop or not.
Right.
So he's completely okay with it. And some people love it. Some people are like, this is great. I hate getting my hair cut with a mask on. Other people don't. And they make that choice. And I think that's part of it too. Like, you know, I understand the food stores, like a high volume place where you can't control whether 1,000 people come into your place a day. Of course, they're going to still want masks because they have no idea who's coming and going. Right. But if you're like a small little outfit, some kind of, you know, small company, you can choose not to make people wear masks if you want to. Or you could put a sign on your door that says, hey, people inside here are not wearing masks. Enter at your own risk, which is what they're doing in Texas. They're basically putting signs that this restaurant is maskless. Enter at your own risk. And they're packed. So I guess we'll see how this pans out.
I don't know if I should mention this or not. We might get banned for saying this, but, you know.
We'll ban us for anything. Right. Who cares?
but Fauci's, I didn't know Fauci's daughter worked for Twitter.
Yes, she does. And she is protecting him like nobody's business, man.
I know. Because I'm scared of me mentioning his name.
Well, people have shown videos of they call it the Fauci flip-flop, where they literally show the video where he's like, nobody should run out and wear a mask. There's no need. And then the very next video is like, one mask is good. Maybe two. Maybe you should wear two.
Maybe three.
Yeah, maybe three. Who knows? It could be better, you know? Just completely cover every air hole that you have. I mean, they show him basically flip-flopping on every single thing that he's ever said. He's walked it backwards. And then, it came out that apparently we can't mention the actual name of the drug, but its abbreviation is HCQ, I think. And Fauci actually, in 2013, wrote a paper on its effectiveness versus COVID variants and stuff. So then it became a thing where it was like, oh, he was for it, and then he's against it, and then everyone was against it, and then everyone's for it now. So here we are.
We're getting
Listen to the science.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of banning, let's take a look at Right Side Broadcasting Network. They got banned for showing Trump's speech at CPAC. Let's take a look at this. They tried to calm My Pillow guy not to say something because they didn't want to get banned.
No calming him down.
Yeah, but they got banned anyway. Take a look.
Yeah.
Stub your toe and they say, "Well, you got COVID." Let's just pile on.
We do have to be super careful. We do it. I love you, but due to YouTube's guidelines, we will get our whole platform shut down.
Okay. Vaccine. Well, this is over in Israel.
Yeah. I know. We love you. So let's focus on what you're doing here today, talking to the media.
Anyway, so they still got, we didn't get banned, they got suspended for 2 weeks.
Well, still, I mean, honestly, this is another thing where what are they trying to scrub Donald Trump from all media platforms?
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. I'm glad I screen recorded it. I actually have his full CPAC. I have the whole thing. I mean, we can't post it, obviously, but maybe it'll be worth money someday. Who knows? I mean, I'm going to end up over the course of, the next year with things that are just scrubbed off the internet, things that don't exist on the internet that, I either have on my computer or my phone that it's unbelievable that they're trying to, I mean, it's a piece of history. You can't take a president and not let him speak. How many former presidents went around the world speaking all over, getting paid $400,000 or $500,000 to speak and spin their rhetoric when Trump goes to CPAC and just basically does the same thing he's been doing all along. Right. And all of a sudden there's, oh my God, we can't. Like, we got to ban people. We got to shut them down. It just goes to show you how scared they are. Right. How much fear is behind a man speaking.
Well, as soon as I heard that, I went to our last video because we had clips of CPAC on there with
Yep.
Trump, and I said,
Yep.
let's see if we got banned or striked, and we did not, thank God. So
Right.
who knows what's going to happen in the future? But yeah, so if you go back to our other show, we do have clips of it, so take a look at that.
Yeah.
So everybody's being banned, everybody's being censored. I don't know where this is going to end. We talked about that several times. But we have HR1 that was passed by the House. We talked about that last video.
Yeah. And I mean, what it means for individual states is it's terrible. I can't, and you know what it is? What really kind of burns me is that it's called like the For the People Act of 2021. Like they always name the bill the complete opposite of what it does. This is not for the people whatsoever. This is just a way to burn people. I mean, this is a way to mucky the waters. I know there's certain things I can't say, to mucky the waters of the process. And it makes it now 50 state legal for the federal government to muddy the waters instead of a state which constitutionally was supposed to decide and supposed to elect their electors and have their legislative body decide on how they were going to do that. Now HR1's in there and they no longer have the power. So the process as we know it is never going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, they need a straight vote to win that thing. I mean, the Senate. I don't know if they're going to have, they're going to have the votes, I guess. They have 51, right?
They have to vote. I don't trust Mitt Romney. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many turncoats anymore that I don't have much faith. It looks as if they're going to steamroll every pipe dream that they've ever had over these next 2 years. And honestly, with HR1, it could be forever for the foreseeable future now,
Right.
because there's so much more on the table. The Equality Act, Puerto Rico becoming a state, the District of Corruption becoming a state, and them getting their own senators, and then it just steamrolls from there. There's almost, they know that this is their only window of opportunity, and they're abusing power at record levels. And these next 10 bills that they vote on are all equally horrible. They don't benefit the American public whatsoever. They cost tremendous amounts of money, and they don't care. And it doesn't even go to the American people. Like I said, we're still waiting on our checks. We're right. I mean,
I haven't got mine.
they've had nothing but power and have done nothing
Well,
with it.
they keep on lowering the goalpost. I think it's
Yeah.
it was 200,000 or over, you'll get it. Now it's 150,000 if you're a couple, over,
Right.
or 80,000 for individual.
Right. And here's the thing. I can't imagine the people that voted for Biden when they can remember one of the last things that Trump said on his way out was 600's a joke. Let's give these people 2,000. And then we watched the Democrats take power and fight over whether the number was too high or too low. I thought they were for the people, these Democrats.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
They're not for the people.
No, they and you know what? I hear a lot of people always argue with me about the party switch whenever we get into these arguments about Democrats versus Republicans, and people talk about a party switch. I think no one realized that there was a party switch once again in ideology, that the Democrats became an elitist party that literally works for millionaires and billionaires. The crap that they spin about taxing the rich is a joke on its face, because anyone who's rich knows how to not pay taxes. That's how they become rich, and that's how they stay rich. There's ways to invest your money, there's ways to move your money, put them in trusts. It's a joke, and it's a way to get the poor people to support them, even though they're the party of the elite. The Democrat Party is a party of complete lies and bullshit. And I feel bad for these people that it's going to take them years to wake up when they're stripped of almost everything they used to have. Especially these union guys that voted for Biden that are now on the unemployment line. I mean, when will these people learn that the Democrats are not what they say, but they do what they say?
Right. Exactly. They put this money in a nonprofit organization, and they make an income off that nonprofit organization. They live off that money forever, and they give that money, a little bit of money away every now and then to say they're giving it away. That's what they do.
Yep, and listen, I mean, these book deals, like, you know, everybody was like, oh, you know, what happened to Bernie Sanders? How did he just miraculously buy another house? Like, you know, and all this stuff. The book deal thing is the biggest scam going. So, like, all of these guys will write a really crappy book that doesn't even sell, you know, 60,000 copies. How does a guy like Bernie Sanders get I think it was $4.5 million deal for selling 60,000 copies of a book? That's a damn expensive book. But what it is these clearinghouses, they will buy millions of copies of these books and basically throw them away because it's like money laundering. It's a way to get these political people money when they write a shitty book. And then their shitty book is the cover story, like Biden, how he miraculously racked up a bunch of money writing a shitty book that nobody bought, but the clearinghouse pays the fee, and then it's a way for them to hide money, and it's a way for them to grease people without it looking like they're giving them money. I mean, we're all eyes wide open here. We just can't do anything about it at this point.
Yeah, and the FBI sure won't. We had a video of Ray. Christopher Way, that's totally big-time liberal, so he's not going to do nothing.
No, not at all. It's not even a law enforcement agency anymore. It seems like it's an investigation. Well, it never was law enforcement.
It's a protection agency.
Right. It's an investigation agency that basically they get the information, and then it's kind of like it's either we can hush this to save you, or we could use it to kill you. And depending on who you are, that's how the FBI does business. It's the probably where the swamp originates from. The high levels of the FBI are where all of this took place. Excuse me. We still aren't talking about, you know, Obamagate and all the papers that came out. All that stuff was factual. Everything that Trump said about them spying on his campaign, everything that really happened, and nothing happens. So they're allowed to break rules, the equivalent level of what got Richard Nixon impeached for recording people. But meanwhile, they abused the FISA court and spied on not only his campaign, but continued to spy on his inner circle as he was president. And nothing happened. That's why the people were pissed. It's been a slow simmer, and it's full boil. And if you want to understand the Capitol, that's part of the reason, is because we're watching all this crap happen and no one goes to jail.
Yeah. I mean, just like the secret police in China or Russia, you know, they choose who they want to, you know, put to jail, you know, send away in the gulag or whatever. So, you know, it's not going to work here because our citizens are used to freedom, used to putting people in prison for doing wrong, not covering it up.
Right, and that's why the next on their list is that HR 127. HR 127 basically turns just about every gun owner into a felon, and then they could basically, you know, pick and choose who the I guess the most powerful speaker, or the most, you know, whoever's the most prolific threat to them, and just basically, you know, use the power of their enforcement that they just created to take away not only Second Amendment rights, but blow out the Fourth Amendment, because it's HR 127 is also a loophole to search and seize your house. Because guess what? Oh, you have a 30-round magazine? Oh, man, that's illegal. You're a felon. Boom, kicking your door down at 3 in the morning.
You didn't pay your $800 fine this year.
Yeah, you don't have. Oh man, your insurance lapsed.
Yeah. Your $800 permit didn't go through this year.
Yeah, your psychologist said no this year.
Yeah, they said no. You're too
so
crazy.
Now your 12 guns are now, you have to surrender them.
Yeah, and we're not going to pay you for it either. You lost all that money.
It's unbelievable. I mean, and this is, I hate to say it, are they doing this on purpose to literally piss off half the population? Is this a purposeful, like almost like King George, when, we talk about the American Revolution, they started writing nasty letters to each other. They did that for 2 years. Okay. So like, they would meet in the Congress and they would write a nasty letter and they'd be like, here, sir, are our grievances based on such and such. And it would take 2 months to get to them. And King George would be like, write them this letter. And boom, it took years and years for it to escalate. But what they don't realize is this is not going to take long to escalate. If they keep this pace of bullshit legislation that they're pushing through and then slowly start to enforce this crap, they're going to get what they're asking for. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, we'll see what happens. So let's move on before we get banned. Starship X-Space took off there today and landed, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So let's take a look at the video. That's beautiful to see. I mean, it's great. So SpaceX landed a Starship, but a few minutes later exploded.
Yeah. We all saw the leak as it was coming down. I mean, I was like, man, that's a lot of extra flame.
Yeah, let's take a look at the explosion.
All right.
A little faster than expected.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
There you go. There's your methane leak.
Yep, there's your methane leak.
Yeah. I don't know what those Starships cost, but
I don't think they're cheap.
Are they?
I don't think so.
I mean,
that's a big ship.
Maybe in the world of like Elon Musk and SpaceX, they're cheap, but I mean, I can't imagine watching months and months of your, blood, sweat, tears, other people's hard work just explode like that.
They're not cheap. I mean, it costs them millions of dollars.
That's what I mean, man. That's a hell of a bonfire,
Yeah, just go up in smoke like that. But that's supposed to be the ship to go to Mars.
Yeah, and actually, he said he's only going to take Dogecoin for the seats.
I hope so. I got some
That's
Dogecoin actually.
That's what he said. He said he's going to accept Dogecoin for the seats. So everybody better stock up on Dogecoin if they plan on going to Mars.
Right. We're not trying to pump the stock or anything.
No, not at all. I mean, Dogecoin?
We're just repeating what Elon Musk said.
Yeah, and he said Dogecoin to the moon because the moon is supposed to be a stopover on certain seasons. So apparently, I don't know a lot about space travel, but certain seasons, whenever your launch will either be, a straight shot to Mars, or you'll stop at the moon and then you'll go to Mars. So,
But if you don't have enough Dogecoin to go to Mars, you just be left at the moon. Exactly. Yeah.
And, they'll probably have COVID tests waiting for you on the moon.
Yeah.
And if you don't test negative, you can't go further to Mars because God forbid you bring COVID to Mars.
All right. Well, I heard that, China, they're giving you an annual test. And China.
I know, anal swabs.
Yeah, anal swabs. So maybe they can do that in Mars.
Unbelievable how this is all coming around. And, they're trying at airports to get people coming off of planes. So they're like, you just landed here. Oh, yeah, you need to take a COVID test and pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, Venezuela has that where you had to pay $60 when you get off the plane. And we have a video of that, actually, and people refuse to do it. Take a look.
I would refuse, too. I'd be like, get out of my way, dude.
Yeah, take a look at this.
Hey!
COVID test. COVID test here.
Yeah, they said, I don't think so.
No, yeah. Honestly, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, dude, I just got off a long flight. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
You know?
Unbelievable. All right, well, that's the show tonight. Do you have any last words, Bill?
Last words. Let's keep our ears to the ground and hope we don't get a massive wave of earthquakes, and hope that the ocean doesn't turn to blood. And, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, if the polar shifts, we're toast anyway, right?
That's what they say. I mean,
I've never been through
experienced
one. Yeah, I know.
So we'll find out. I know GPS is going to be really effed up, but
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the show. Thanks for watching, and thanks for all our new subscribers. And have a wonderful night. Okay.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army